on the appointment of the foreign minister, and it has become a very contentious issue. And as a result, both sides have applied the three-line whip. What it means is that no member of parliament is allowed to leave Parliament House until the voting is over. This is what we have to live with. This is the democracy we have chosen for ourselves, and we have to live with its consequences. However, we are going to kickstart the program. And we're going to kickstart the program with a song that I've never heard before. I've just been informed that a Ghanaian musician has composed a song about Palestine. And we are going to invite him to sing his song about Palestine. Comrade and brother, the microphone is yours.
Yeah. Keep on clapping, man. You can do better. Yeah, let's do this for the love of Palestine, you know. Yeah, let's do this for Gaza. Let's do this for the West Bank, all right? Selector, hold on, just a minute. This is a song I did, you know, entitled Bigger Than Five, okay? In this part of our world, the five powers, you know, or more, and their allies who control everything. And it shouldn't be so, you know, because we all have the mandate and the right, the privilege, you know, to coexist peacefully. You understand? We call this Bigger Than Five, all right? We say man is not a mosquito, man is not a fly that you could spray with some insecticide. Drop bombs, drones, and missiles, ethnic cleansing, genocide, and that is apartheid, right? Yeah, that is apartheid. Battle of the fittest, only the strong survive. But tell me, what is the ultimate prize? When so many innocent lives you sacrifice just for a slice of this lovely paradise. We're bigger than five. You know, a round of applause to our ever, you know, resisting brothers and sisters, mothers and children in Palestine. You know, selector, let's do this one. Okay, DJ. Wow, I think we're having a selector. Can you start it? Okay. So I sing it this way. Man is not a mosquito, man is not a fly. You could have sprayed with some insecticide. Drop bombs, drones, airstrikes and missiles. Ethnic cleansing, apartheid and genocide. Battle of the fittest, only the strongest survive. But tell me, Charlie, was the ultimate prize? When so many innocent lives you sacrifice just for a slice of this lovely paradise. Man is not a mosquito, man is not a fly. You could have sprayed with some insecticide. Drop bombs, drones, airstrikes and missiles. Ethnic cleansing, apartheid and genocide. Battle of the fittest, only the strongest survive. But tell me, Charlie, was the ultimate prize? When so many innocent lives you sacrifice just for a slice of this lovely paradise. We bigger than five. We bigger than five.
BK the Black
yes,
Farmer.
I go by the name BK the Black Farmer. They won't conquer the sun, the moon, and the night planets. Why? Man is not a mosquito, man is not a fly. You could have sprayed with some insecticide. Drop bombs, drones, airstrikes and missiles. Ethnic cleansing, apartheid and genocide. Battle of the fittest, and the strongest survive. But tell me, Charlie, was the ultimate prize? When so many innocent lives to sacrifice just for a slice of this lovely paradise. Man is not a mosquito, man is not a fly. You could have sprayed with some insecticide. Drum bombs, drones, airstrikes and missiles. Ethnic cleansing, apartheid and genocide. Battle of the fittest and the strongest survive. But for me, Charlie, was the ultimate prize. When so many innocent lives to sacrifice just for a slice of this lovely paradise. Yo, we bigger than five. 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 We be right, worldwide. We bigger than five. We bigger than five. We bigger than five. We bigger than five.
Black farmer,
We bigger than five. God is not an author of confusion, out of creation, every race and every nation.
stop the occupation, religious illusion,
In this
civilization,
military,
diplomatic solution,
over military intervention.
stop the damage,
Stop the cannon rampage, free mankind from all the bondage. Love should be the message.
stop should be the message.
In this global village, I respect my existence. Expect my resistance. Cause existence should it be resistance. BK the black farmer. We bigger than five. 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 Worldwide, worldwide, we bigger than five. We bigger than five. We bigger than five. We bigger than five.
Black farmer,
Akaba, we bigger than five. Hear my cry. I.
out of the jungle.
Why so many children die? I. Ceasefire, but it's a lie. Destroying historic sites and killing wildlife. Hey. Yo, let me see your hands up, Yeah, man. Say free Palestine. Free Gaza. Free the West Bank. Yeah, man. We bigger than five, I go by the name BK the Black Farmer. Bibi Droka Krabba for short. Bless you. I'm humbled to be here. Thank you so much for the privilege. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Well, at this stage, I'd like to call on Comrade Loretta Nade Ashi, the women's leader of the Socialist Movement of Ghana, to introduce the chairperson, Comrade Nade Ashi.
Good evening, Your Excellencies. Good evening, comrades. It's a privilege to be called upon to introduce the chairperson for this event. And is the convener of the Socialist Movement of Ghana, and his love for the oppressed people of the world cannot be overemphasized. His love for the people of Palestine and his work for the people of Palestine is so visible that we think that he's the best person to chair this event. With a hand of applause, please let's welcome Comrade Chichi Opoku.
Thank you, Comrade Loretta. Good evening, comrades. From the river to the sea. From the river to the sea. That's better. I'd like to thank my colleagues for inviting me to chair these proceedings, this meeting, this important book launch. I won't say very much. I know we're late. But for the last 14 going on 15 months, like all of you, I have been traumatized by the developments in Gaza and now the entire Western Asian region. It's the kind of trauma that begins to rob you of your own humanity. It's not just the anger that makes you feel violent towards those who are perpetrating violence, towards those who are killing children, killing women, uprooting families, moving them hundreds and hundreds of miles away from anywhere that they can have sustenance. It goes beyond that kind of anger. And Excellency, yeah. It goes beyond that to the point where we begin to feel hatred towards a people. The only thing that stops us from losing our own humanity is our belief that at the end of this struggle, no matter how terrible the price we pay, there will be justice. There will be victory for the people of Palestine. There will be victory for all the people of the world. And if we didn't have that hope, if we were not part of the struggle in our own little ways, wherever we live, wherever we work, wherever we learn, if we did not have that conviction that we are capable working together to turn this and the many other terrible situations that exist around our world, like Congo. Congo is imploding now because of the same viciousness that drives the situation in Palestine. It is because we have that hope, it is because we struggle, that we ourselves can remain human. So it is important always that we develop perspective, that we understand what the truth in these situations is. It is important that we are able to talk back, to argue with those who would suggest to us that what is happening in Palestine is somehow civilizationally understandable. It's important to uncover the machinations of the corporate media and now of much of social media, to uncover the falseness of the narrative that is being fed to all our people, and which, despite our best efforts, seems to be seeping through. It is because of that that books, pamphlets, like what our comrade and our brother Nasser has produced for us, for the education of all of our cadre, are incredibly important. And that is why I appreciate so much that so many of you have turned up this evening to participate in the launch, and participate in sending this book out into the community and beginning to make, or not beginning, continuing to make a change in the way at least the Ghanaian public understands what's happening, and in mobilizing support for the struggle of our brothers and our comrades in Palestine. So, I don't know if I'm supposed to declare the event open or something, but those are really the only remarks that I want to make this evening. Thank you all once again for coming. I believe the next event on the agenda is a poetry recital by Comrade Victoria. Is she here? Okay.
In a beloved ancient heart, a tale unfolds of occupation, oppression, and blood-soaked gold. 67 years of dispossession and pain. 4 million refugees scattered with no place to claim. Their homes, their lands, their memories, all seized, leaving only dust and a future that freeze-dried. Since 1948, Israel's grip has held tight, a strangling grasp, suffocating the Palestinian light. the claim, the blame, with no shame, they say. The Palestinian leadership is refusing to accept the Jewish state in any borders. But what of the Palestinian state, with borders undefined? A people without a homeland, their future left behind. Gaza's siege, a prison with walls so high. 2 million souls trapped with no escape to the sky. In the West Bank, settlements spread like a stain. 500,000 Israeli settlers on Palestinian terrain. The wall, a monstrous barrier, 708 kilometers long, dividing families, separating dreams where love and hope belong. Jerusalem, a city holy, yet torn apart. And amidst this chaos, the most vulnerable pay. Women and children bearing the brunt day by day. Forced to flee, to hide, to mourn, and to grieve. Their childhoods lost, their futures uncertain, their hopes deceived. Mothers, daughters, sisters, wives, and grandmothers too. Their stories silenced, their voices muted, their pain anew. The occupation's heavy hand, a burden they must bear. A life of hardship, of fear, of displacement, and of despair. The numbers mount, a grim and ghastly toll. Over 10,000 Palestinians killed since the Second Intifada's roll. Tens of thousands injured with scars that won't heal. A generation lost with futures stolen and hopes that reveal. But still, the Palestinian spirit, unbroken and free, resists, revolts, and rises like a phoenix, wild and carefree. Their struggle, a testament to humanity's highest call. For justice, equality, and freedom standing tall. We must bear witness to this occupation's might. We must speak out against the darkness and shine a light for Palestine. For justice, we must take a stand and demand an end to this occupation's brutal hand. Free, free Palestine! Amandla!
Comrade Victoria Wilson is from the Winneba Collective of the Socialist Movement of Ghana. At this stage, it is our pleasure to invite the Ambassador of the State of Palestine to Ghana to make brief remarks. Your Excellency.
Good evening, Member of the Parliament, Your Excellency, Ambassadors, Member of the Palestinian community in Ghana, ladies and gentlemen, Member of the media. I'd like to thank in the beginning Dr. Nasser about his big support to Palestine and the Palestinian people. I remember when I arrived to Ghana before 10 years, and we organized the first meeting with the Ghanaian solidarity with the Palestinian people. I cannot forget your speech when you said your struggle will not stop support to Palestine and the Palestinian people. Thank you so much, Dr. Nasser. And I'd like to convey to you the greeting of the Palestinian writer, They called me just today morning and they asked me to greet you and thank you too. I like to thank the Ghanaian Solidarity Campaign with the Palestinian people. And I like to thank all our friends who organized the demonstration in Accra and in Kumasi, in Tamale, support to Palestine and the Palestinian people. And I'd like to thank Ghana about its big support to Palestine and my people. I'd like to start when America bombing Japan in 1945. In 1 minute, the Americans killed 77,000 from the Japanese people. And they used the nuclear bomb. And all of you know this is against the international law, against the justice, and against the human. In Gaza, the Israelis killed to now 47,000 from my people. And according to the UN reports, there is more than 16,000 under the building. That's mean 63,000 from my people killed by the Israeli. And there is more than 120,000 injured by the Israelis, some of them losing hands or legs or eyes. According to reports of the UN, Israel bombing and destroy 80% from our housing. Israel killed more than 15,000 children. Israel killed more than 10,000 women. Israel killed full families. Israel destroy 90% from our schools. And Israel bombing all our universities. And Israel bombing 27 hospital and 12 clinic. And according to the report, 70% from the Palestinian people, they are children or women. What the Israelis doing with my people? First, they called the people after the 7th of October on their phones, leave your house. When the people left their house, they went to the hospitals or schools or church or mosques. And after that, Israel bombing all. And all of you see it on the TV. And then they ask the people to leave their cities. As example, they ask Beit Lahia, the people in Beit Lahia, to leave to Gaza. And then they ask them to leave to Nusayrat. And then they ask them to leave to Khan Yunis. And then they ask them to leave to Rafah, or ask the people in Rafah to leave to Khan Yunis. Because they want to destroy all the Palestinians' housing. When the people start to back before a few days to their housing, they don't find anything. If the lady want to go to the bathroom or the washing room, there is no bathroom or washing room. There is no bedroom. There is no kitchen. There is no bed. There is no anything. What Israel want? Israel want to protect all my people from their lands and their housing. They want my people to leave to another country. But I'm from Gaza. And I know all the Palestinian people, not only in Gaza, because I met some from the Palestinian people who left their lands in 1948 or 1967. I know the Palestinian people very well. All of you remember I stand in this place before a few months, and I told you, if you want to know Israel can occupy Gaza, look to eyes of our children, you will know. And now I stand here, and I like to say, the occupation will go, and Palestine will stay. And I believe that we will meet again in a program, maybe after a few months, after 1 year, and all of us will have very big celebration when we see Palestine free. The struggle of the Palestinian people will not stop, and my people will never leave their lands. They will stay there. They are happy. You know, open on the YouTube and on the TV and see. They back to their house and they did not find house. But all of them say, we will stay here, we will never leave our lands. Because as I said, the occupation will go and my people will stay there. Our struggle will continue to see Palestine free, and we believe as a Palestinian people in Gaza, in the West Bank, or outside in Lebanon, or in Jordan, or in Egypt, or in any country, we will back to our lands and Palestine will be free. Thank you, Dr. Nasser, again. Thank you so much.
Well, I'd like to recognize in our midst Albi Watts from the leadership of the All African People's Revolutionary Party. Albi Watts is here with us. I also recognize the Deputy Ambassador of China. He's here. The socialist movement of Ghana is growing. It's growing in different directions and in different dimensions and so on. And last year's elections actually saw 2 of our members elected to parliament. Not on our ticket, but on other tickets. Nonetheless, it's an important signal. But then we also have associates who are getting into the mainstream of politics and so on. And the Honorable Member of Parliament for Garu, who will be launching the book today, is one of those very prominent associates of the socialist movement of Ghana. He was trained in Cuba, so he's a Cubanito. And is a medical officer by training and so on. He's now a member of parliament for Garu, and when the time comes, he'll be properly introduced to launch the book. It's now my pleasure to invite to the microphone Dr. Gamal Nasser Adam, who is actually a member of the socialist movement of Ghana. He's a member of the Cuba Solidarity Campaign, a member of the Palestine Solidarity Campaign, and has been very active in the Solidarity Campaign with the Sahrawi Arab Democratic Republic. Now, Dr. Nasser was trained in the Soviet Union, and he became the head of the Modern Languages Department of the University of Ghana. Subsequently left the University of Ghana and became the vice president of the Islamic University. One morning I got a call from Dr. Nasser and he said, well, I've written something on Palestine. And I think it can be published as a booklet. Can you take a look at it? And I took a look at it. I think then, in its first draft, it was about 28 pages. And I said to myself, what an excellent work, which explains everything, the history, the geography, and so on. So I took this draft to the standing committee of our movement, and the standing committee decided immediately to adopt it and to publish. And that is why we are here today. It is my pleasure to invite this very excellent comrade of ours, committed, hardworking and all, Comrade Dr. Nasser Adam, to say a few words, and we mean a few words. Dr. Nasser, a few words from you.
Thank you very much, Comrade Kwesi. I indeed intend to say a few words. I don't know what that means anyway. I stand on existing protocol, Your Excellencies. Straight to the point. In fact, the main reason for putting this booklet together is to provide some concise information concerning the genocide in Gaza and to let the ordinary people out there understand the nature of the conflict, its history, and the role of Israel as an imperialist outpost out there in the Middle East. Specifically, what triggered it was this event. After the October 7 events, the Israeli ambassador in Ghana hopped from one media house to the other, spewing the Israeli narrative, which is just propaganda about the situation in Palestine. And the sad aspect was that all the journalists who engaged her in these encounters didn't seem to be well prepared, or at least they were deliberately soft on her by not asking the relevant questions. And I'm pleased to note that His Excellency, the Ambassador of the State of Palestine in Ghana, was also on some media houses, also giving an account of the real situation out there. Indeed, what's happening is that for several decades, Israel has tried to conceal from the international public opinion the real story behind its creation and its usurpation of Palestinian lands. Why is it so? I want to put in the context. It was Pluto who said that we can easily forgive a child who is afraid of the dark. The real tragedy of life is when men are afraid of the light. Israel is afraid of the truth that shines light on its despicable history. So it has to lie, otherwise it would die. So telling lies is within the DNA of the Zionist enterprise. That's why it is spending billions and billions of dollars trying to spread propaganda, trying to bribe, blackmail, in order to control the media, and then portray itself as the good guy in the Middle East, surrounded by neighbors who are irrational. But one of the most remarkable outcomes of this Gaza conflict, the genocide, is that the corporate media are no longer able to effectively control the narrative. Their influence has been diminished severely, largely due to the activism of groups like this, Palestinian activists, and then other solidarity movements across the world. And the work of activists has actually been aided by the realities on the ground, which contradicted the Israeli narrative, because the sheer brutality of the Israeli genocide in Gaza, which was splashed on television screens and screens of smartphones across the world, exposed Israel as a genocidal regime. It aroused global anger, outrage, and even hatred towards Israel as an apartheid regime. So we can see clearly the Israeli propaganda edifice is crumbling, and the global support for the Palestinian resistance is now overwhelming, even in the United States of America, which is the main backer, diplomatic, military, and financial backer of the Zionist enterprise. And I just want to refer to some recent surveys in the United States itself. They show that Israel has lost a generation, not just of American youth in general, but also of American Jews, especially among the young people, most of whom have dissociated themselves from the Israeli apartheid regime. I'm talking of American Jews, especially young American Jews. The surveys also show that about 40% of American teenagers support what is happening, the resistance in Gaza today. 40% support the Palestinian resistance in Gaza today. And 66% of American Jews, Jewish teenagers, and I want you to take note of this, the Jewish teenagers believe in the Palestinian cause. This was unfathomable. You couldn't imagine this just even a year or two ago. But as things are unfolding, the Palestinian ambassador, made this optimistic, prediction. It's based on these developments that are turning out very fast, in a very radical direction. I won't be surprised how things would unfold in the very near future. So as the Gaza genocide was in progress, American university students, and not just ordinary universities, even Ivy League university students, in their greatest of numbers, were camping on their university campuses, protesting the Israeli genocide in Gaza, and demanding of the United States government and of their university authorities to stop doing business with Israel, and not only that, to stop doing business with companies that support the Israeli genocide in Gaza. And the significance of all these developments, is that this young generation of Americans are the future leaders of their country. It means that the blind and unconditional and sheepish support that the United States has been giving Israel over the decades will come to an end in the not too distant future. Why? Because these young Protestant students would be occupying positions of leadership in the United States in the very near future. And they would not, based on the experience they've had recently, be so slavish, to Israel as their parents have been over the decades. We also have Israel recently in the dock of international public opinion. We've all heard of the International Court of Justice that is, trying, Israel for genocide and war crimes. We also have, international warrants that have been issued for the arrest of Benjamin Netanyahu and his former defense minister, Yoav Gallant. And not only that, around the world today, there are numerous court actions initiated against Israeli military officers who have played one role or the other in the Gaza genocide. And in fact, this development has worried the Israeli army to such an extent that their citizens, they are worried that their citizens could be arrested when on holiday outside Israel, that they are going to great lengths to disguise the identities of these officers so that they would escape arrest, they can avoid arrest when they travel outside. Now, a very quick one, Comrade Pratt, on the savagery that the Israelis are subjected to the people of Gaza. This is unimaginable. And His Excellency the Ambassador of Palestine has stated it. And I'll just make one or two brief comments on that. Gaza is called a strip for a reason. It is a small piece of land. And to bring our imagination closer to home, those of us in Ghana, Greater Accra region is 9 times bigger than the Gaza Strip. That is in terms of land area. And within the first month of the genocide, Israel dropped more bombs on this tiny enclave than the United States of America dropped in 7 years of its bombing of Iraq. And more bombs dropped on this tiny enclave than the Allied forces dropped on Nazi Germany during the Second World War. A tiny enclave like that. That's the amount of savage power that Israel used against this very tiny piece of land. And yet, despite the scale of this brutality, Israel failed to achieve any of the objectives it set itself at the start of the conflict 15 months earlier. First, it set itself the objective of destroying the resistance. Well, the resistance is still very much a fighting force and still in control of Gaza. And despite was inflicted on the population at large, the resistance still enjoys wide support. And we are seeing this live on television, with the ongoing ceasefire and the exchange of prisoners. In fact, we saw the resistance fighters in pristine Toyota vehicles, jeeps, and new uniforms, delivering the first batch of 3 Israeli captives in the middle of Gaza City. And this shocked the international community. Not only that, even it shocked the people of Israel, who had been fed with a steady diet of propaganda, news that the resistance had been destroyed. And here they were, in control, after 15 months of total war. They were emerging like ghosts from the tunnels, and from among the rubble. And not only that, they were being cheered by the population. And even they were, not only that, they were showering them with flowers. This is just to buttress what the Palestinian ambassador is saying, that the Palestinian spirit cannot be broken. Second, Israel also set itself the task of returning alive all the 250 Israelis whom the resistance had taken prisoner. Clearly, the ongoing exchange of prisoners shows that the only way of getting these Israeli captives out alive was for Israel to have a deal with the resistance. They certainly could not free them through the use of force. And this is exactly what is happening now with the current ceasefire. So it has failed on that second score. But what is really significant is that in the long run, the historical signs do not look good for Israel. In the short term, they may be able to inflict maximum damage on the Palestinian resistance, destroy their homes. But the Palestinians have proven time and time again that they can resist, that they can still survive and still, reconstruct from the ruins. And Gaza in particular has shown us something, that the human spirit will prevail, and that despite the savagery that was inflicted on it, Palestine will not surrender. It will continue to fight for self-determination for the Palestinian people, for the sovereignty of the Palestinian people. And after the international exposure of Israel as a genocidal apartheid regime, no one today can say that the Palestinians don't deserve their own state. In fact, the struggle will continue until the Palestinians are involved in proper negotiations that will culminate in a just peace deal. And I think that, Comrade Kwesi, I've spent just about 8 minutes, so I'll conclude here, and thank you all very much for your attention.
Excellencies, comrades, and friends, There's a comrade amongst us that we would like to introduce. He's a very special comrade. Normally, we introduce her as Mrs. Margaret Nkrumah, the wife of the first son of Osajifo Dr. Nkrumah. But she's far more than that. She's not just the wife of Professor Francis Nkrumah. She's a revolutionary in her own right and a member of our movement. My pleasure to introduce Mrs. Margaret Nkrumah. At this stage, we'd like to call Comrade Victoria Wilson to give us another poem, bearing in mind that Comrade Thomas Anaba has just run away from Parliament to come and do this, so he can run back before the whip catches him. So, Victoria.
Free Palestine! Free Palestine! Free Palestine! No more murder, no more lies! No more murder, no more lies! Free Palestine! Free Palestine!
In the tapestry of time, 76 threads intertwined, buckled in oppression's belt, a tone of free is felt. Defiant hearts beat strong, tied with resistance through. Fettered in occupation's heavy grasp, the city roars for liberation. Women and children muffled from the agonizing music of missiles and death. From the soil of Latin America through the aircraft of the Middle East, echoes chase voice. Hasta la victoria siempre. Victory until end. In the walls of Jerusalem, the trumpet sounds. Hurrier, hurrier, Palestine, Arabie. We declare resistance until liberation's first. Amandla!
And now, it is a very, very distinguished pleasure to invite the Honorable Thomas Anaba, Cubanito, friend of our movement, member of Parliament for Garu, to launch this booklet. Honorable, podium and microphone.
Thank you very much. I had to run from Parliament and come here because I think this is equally a just cause, and I needed to be here. I think when I called Kwesi the other day to tell him today we're in 3-line whip, so I'll see how I'll manage. He said, "You have to manage." Yes, Amasa, I'm managing. Thank you very much, everybody, for having me here. Actually, I don't think I'm that fit to comment on a book written by this very tactical, meticulous author, because I've not gotten to that level. But for the spirit of solidarity with the good people of Palestine and the oppressed across the world, I accepted the task to come and present and launch the book.
So do forgive me if I may not be that very eloquent to match the author and the audience sitting here. Chairperson, distinguished excellencies and ambassadors, members of the Solidarity Movement of Ghana, our esteemed author, friends and comrades, good evening. It is both an honor and a responsibility to stand before you today to launch this critical book, The Israeli Genocide in Gaza, a short guide of history and nature of the Israeli-Palestine conflict, written by Dr. Gamal Nasser Adam. Let me begin by expressing my admiration for the author, because I've gone through the book. In 3 days, I've managed to read it 2 times. Because Dr. Adams is not only a scholar of great intellect, but also a man of conscience. His ability to distill decades of conflict, justice, and resistance into a short guide is highly commendable. As a medical doctor myself, who has spent years dissecting human anatomy, I am very much appreciate the skills that is required to take a complex subject matter like the Israeli-Palestine conflict and present it in a way that even a busy medical political person like myself and a new member of parliament like me can understand it so easily. The book is very comprehensive, but very easy to understand. From the genesis of how Israel was formed to when the conflict had gotten to its worst stage in current days, protected, financed, and supported by America, Britain, Germany, that is in Canada. I think he has done a very good job. And we can give him a hand of applause for that. Now let me make a special confession. My journey to this moment did not begin in the halls of parliament, but in a classroom in Cuba. So my ambassador, you are welcome to Ghana, where I had my privilege of receiving my education from a high school through to medical school, studying in a country that has long stood for justice, equality, and the right for the oppressed people to resist colonial and imperial domination. I learned that in silence, and I'm trying to defend people who were equally oppressed like the Cubans are in Cuba. So that is the history, a little history about myself. And so, standing here today, I am reminded of the words of the great Cuban revolutionary leader Fidel Castro, who said, "Whoever is not capable of fighting for others will never be capable for fighting for himself." So therefore, I want to learn how to fight for myself. So I'm here to speak, to contribute to the fight for the good people of Palestine. It is in this spirit that we gather here tonight to affirm our commitment to truth, to affirm our commitment to justice, and to affirm our commitment to the fundamental rights of people everywhere to live in dignity and in freedom. Ladies and gentlemen, the Palestine struggle is not just a Middle East issue. It is a global struggle against oppression, displacement, and apartheid. Ghana, with our deep history of fighting colonial rule and injustice, cannot be neutral in the face of such a blatant crime against humanity. We cannot look away when hospitals, schools, and homes are reduced to rubble. We have to wake up. We cannot look away when children become statistics in the endless cycles of violence. Children are dying every day, and we are counting the numbers. It is not a pleasure. And we cannot look away when international institutions that have been built to prevent such atrocities are paralyzed by the political interests of the powerful few. So international bodies that are supposed to defend the less privileged would have to stand up, just like the International Criminal Court of Justice is doing. This book is not just a historical account. It is a call to conscience. It is a reminder that in every generation, there are those who choose to stand for justice, even when it is not convenient. And I believe in me, myself, and in every human endeavor, justice is what we need now for the Palestinian people. Let me say this. The struggle for Palestine is not a religious conflict. It is not a Muslim conflict versus Jews. It is a struggle for land, from what I've read. It is a struggle for dignity. It is a struggle for self-determination. It is the same struggle that we, Africans, wage against colonial rule. It is the same struggle that the people of South Africa wage against apartheid. And history has shown us that no amount of military force, just like the ambassador said, no amount of propaganda, and no amount of political maneuvering can suppress the will of a people determined to be free. And I'm sure the Palestinians one day will be free. Tonight, as we launch this important book, let us not only commit ourselves to reading and understanding the history of Israel-Palestine conflict, but also to acting. Let us use our voices, our platforms, and our collective influence to demand an end to the violence and occupation in Palestine and everywhere else. Let us support all genuine efforts that are rooted in justice and equality towards lasting peace in Palestine and everywhere in this world. To Dr. Nasser, I admire you, you know that. Your junior brother is my senior in Tamale Teaching Hospital, and we have been so close, and I know you very well. I really congratulate you on this significant work that has made it very easy for anybody to understand what is happening in Gaza. You have given us not just a book, but a weapon in the future for the truth, in the fight for the truth. And as someone trained in medicine, I assure you that this book is not much needed, it's the much needed antidote to the sickness of misinformation and indifference. It's the true antidote for the misinformation that we have about the Gaza war and the October attack. We know very well how they skewed out false news about babies being slaughtered, which was vehemently denied later on. And that was the premises they used to cause this assault on Palestinians. And also the Hannibal directive was used to kill more people, to prove that the attackers who attacked genuinely, because they attacked military posts. Yes, they attacked military posts, but the Israelis themselves used the Hannibal law directive to attack everybody and kill their own people and blamed the Palestinians. So this book would be an antidote for what they spewed out during their justification for the attack on the Palestinians. Ladies and gentlemen, I would invite you all to let us launch this book with conviction of justice. Though delayed, can never be denied. Let us launch it with the firm conviction that history is on the side of the oppressed. And let us launch it knowing that the struggle for Palestine is a struggle for all humanity. I would end here by thanking everybody who is here coming for us to launch this very important and critical book for the people of Palestine. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Well, first of all, I think we would like to thank Dr. Thomas Anaba for being here. Coming here was not easy for him at all. You know what it means when in Parliament they say that they have applied the three-line whip. When they say that they have applied the three-line whip, says that you have to follow. You cannot deviate, and so on. I don't know how he managed to be here, but he's managed to be here, and we are very, very grateful. We salute you for coming here to show solidarity with Palestine. I've been given an assignment. It's a very difficult one. I mean, normally when my friends write books and the books are being launched, they come to me and they say, you have to auction it. And the reason why they say that I have to auction the book is that I use all the methods. Intimidation, cajoling, embarrassing, everything. And it normally works, and we raise quite a bit of money. Today is different. I'm not going to do any of those things because all the people here are friends and comrades. And I'm not going to embarrass anybody. I'm not going to intimidate anybody. All I can say is that yes, the socialist movement of Ghana is growing. And one of the things that we do is publishing. We published many books since we came into existence. And perhaps one of the most popular books that we published is a book titled The Great Deception, How the CIA Overthrew Nkrumah. We've actually published the 5th edition of this book. And this book is doing the rounds and telling the incredible story of the machinations of the Central Intelligence Agency of the United States of America in Africa and the world. Published many titles, including a book called Fight Back, a response to anti-Nkrumah provocations and so on. So this is just one of the many books that we have published, and we intend to publish a lot more. I must say that there's no commercial motive for this book. This book has been published solely for the purpose of telling the truth about Palestine. And we intend to spread this book to all public libraries. We intend to make sure that this book finds space in all the libraries of our universities, in Parliament House, everywhere. And we intend to put this book in those places for free, at no cost to the libraries and so on. So that's an exercise we will embark upon. In the first instance, we decided to print for today just 1,000 copies. And there are good reasons for that. We are engaged in too many things now which stretches our resources. Okay, our resources are quite stretched. I will not be able to tell you all the things that we are doing, but we are doing so many things. So our resources are quite stretched. If in the final analysis we can print 50,000 copies of this book and put it everywhere, we'll be very happy. So this is just the beginning of spreading the information that is in this book. And we launched the first 10 copies of this book as part of the effort to generate resources so that we can continue printing more and more and more until we can reach everybody and anybody in the Ghanaian society. So, as I promised, there will be no cajoling, no bullying, no embarrassing, nothing. This is the very first copy of the book. and we need an offer. First copy of the book, offer? Yes, Your Excellency. 5,000 cedis first offer? Oh, please. Don't start clapping yet. Because if there's somebody who wants to make a bigger offer for the first copy, I'll give the book to the person. Anybody wants to make a bigger offer? Okay. Going, gone. The second copy of the book, and you can see I'm just taking it from the rubber, you know. Tear rubber, this is tear rubber. Second copy of the book. Second copy of the book. Yes, Your Excellencies. 4,000 for the second copy of the book. Anybody wants to do better? Third copy of the book. Third copy of the book. Hey, so I don't want to hear you. I don't want to do my thing. Third copy of the book. Yes, sir. 3,000. Third copy of the book. Fourth copy of the book. We are auctioning only 3,000. This is the fourth one. So 6 more to go. Fifth copy of the book. Fifth copy of the book. Yes, compañero. 2,000. And that is the president of the Ghanaian trained in Cuba, Ghanaian Cuban graduates. Is that the fifth copy? Sixth copy of the book. 2,000. Yes, sir. Thank you. So I suppose the next one is the seventh. Huh? Okay, seventh copy of the book. Yes, please. 2,000. The eighth copy of the book. Eighth copy of the book. Ah, this is an old-time comrade. Nanamu is here. Nanamu is here. 2,000. Okay. So, ninth copy of the book. 2,000. Ninth copy of the book. And then, when we were growing up, they used to tell us that the last can be the first. How that is possible, I don't know. But this is the very last copy of the book. Very, very last one. This is the 10th copy of the book. Yes, Your Excellency. 2,000. Yes, please. Yes, please. Can somebody take it for Your Excellency? If there's anybody here, within or without, who has any offer to make, we'll be happy to take the offer. But as we said from the beginning, for us, this is not about a commercial enterprise and so on. So, everybody who came here will be given a copy of the book. And if there are any of us here who know of schools and institutions and so on who need copies of the book, please approach us and we will make the book available. If you come and you haven't had the capacity to print more, we will discuss how to develop that capacity to print more so that we can circulate. So for now, Ayele and the rest, please help make sure that everybody here gets a copy of the book. There are a couple of them in the Insight office. So please make sure that everybody gets a copy of the book. At this stage, we would like to invite the convener of our movement, Comrade Tritrie Opoku. I'm sure that most of you know Comrade Tritrie Opoku. He has led our movement for 2 years, and his leadership has been excellent. We've come this far because of his brain power and commitment to the development of an organization which pursues, an alternative to this neoliberal, neo-colonial enterprise. Comrade Tritrie Opoku has been many things in the past. He's chaired the Ghana National Petroleum Corporation before. He's worked in the Ghana Mission in the United Nations. He's been General Secretary of a political party, the National Reform Party, and so many things. And as a matter of fact, also served as a member of the political committee of the National Democratic Congress. How he manages to do the two things, I can't tell. But it just shows the magic in him. To be able to work in NDC and work in SMG at the same time, you need some magic to do that. And he has that magic. So my pleasure to invite to the microphone this very distinguished comrade of ours to close us, to make his closing remarks. And thereafter, we can all stay for refreshment. Comrade Tritrie Opoku, convener of the Socialist Movement of Ghana.
Okay, good evening again, comrades. We have come to the end of today's proceedings. My task is to say thank you to all of you for showing up. Thank you especially to Comrade Nasser for your comments on your own work and in the context of that work and about the struggles going forward. We appreciate that very much. And to Comrade Anaba, it was a brilliant presentation. As I just said to you, I think we need to get you onto our platforms a lot more. Now that you are free from your medical practice, we hope that we can have more of you. Excellencies, we truly appreciate your participation. The solidarity that we have with you and your countries is boundless. Okay, we are in this together till final victory. So I know I don't need to thank you, but thank you for coming once again to support us in this activity. Accra Collective, SMG, well, we haven't quite reached there. APRP, Solidarity, thank you. And all the friends who joined us. Accra Collective, once again, we appreciate your leadership. We appreciate the drive that you bring to our work and the quality that you bring to making the work of SMG, but also the work of international solidarity prominent in people's minds. I think that's about it. I don't know if there are any announcements. There's one announcement. So once again, thank you all very much. There are refreshments at the back, but I believe there's one more announcement from Kwesi. Please hold on.
Excellencies, comrades and friends, we've entered the month of shame. Over the last decades, we have been observing the 24th of February as Ghana's Day of Shame. It's a day on which we mark the overthrow of the Nkrumah government by a combination of Western intelligence agencies and their local collaborators. And we've celebrated this for decades. We've actually had, I think, the president of Senegal at some point deliver the lectures. There was a time when we were honored with the presence of Comandante Risquet Valdez, a hero of the Cuban Revolution, who was actually the commander of the Cuban forces who fought in Quito Carnival in Angola and so on, delivered the lectures. This year, we shall be holding the Day of Shame at the headquarters of our movement, not here. This is our cultural center. Our headquarters much bigger and so on. We shall be doing that on the 24th of February. And we have invited Professor Libo from the Fudan University of China, and who is also an associate director of Tricontinental Institute, to give a lecture on China and Ghana, on Africa, in the effort to build a new world, the perspectives of Mao and Nkrumah. We want to invite all of you to join us in this celebration, in this marking of the overthrow of Nkrumah, and to participate in this discussion of Africa-China relations from the perspective of Nkrumah and Mao. So all of you are invited. Thank you very much. You may now wait and enjoy our very poor reception.